My sister demanded I walk down the aisle with her creepy brother-in-law who's obsessed with me. When I refused, she screamed, "You can't bring your boyfriend to my wedding!" I punched her in the face. What my sister Emma didn't realize was that she'd just crossed someone who understood consequences in ways her entitled brain couldn't comprehend. I'm not just some pushover little sister she could manipulate. I'm a 25-year-old corporate litigation paralegal at Brennan & Associates, earning $67,000 annually, and I've spent the last 4 years learning exactly how to document harassment cases and build legal strategies that destroy people who think they can intimidate me. My boyfriend, Jake, and I have been together for 5 years, living together for 3, and we're more committed than most married couples. He's been at every family gathering, every holiday, every milestone. Jake helped move my grandparents into assisted living, coached my youngest brother's Little League team, and literally held my hand through my father's cancer treatment. Our relationship is rock solid. We're just waiting until we're both financially stable before getting married. Emma, on the other hand, has been with her fiancé, Brad, for exactly 2 years and engaged for 6 months. She's always been the type who cared more about having a wedding than having a marriage. It didn't matter who proposed, she just wanted that princess moment. What made this situation particularly infuriating was that Brad's brother Marcus had been making inappropriate advances toward me since the day I met him. The harassment started 18 months ago when Emma tricked me into what she called a casual dinner with friends. It was actually a set-up double date with Brad and Marcus. I told her repeatedly I had a boyfriend and wasn't interested, but Marcus spent the entire evening making sexual comments and trying to touch my arm. When I told Emma how uncomfortable he made me, she laughed it off and said I was being too sensitive. At their engagement party 3 months ago, the situation escalated. Marcus cornered me by the bar and said he knew I was just playing hard to get and that he could treat me better than some college boyfriend. Jake noticed Marcus following me around and we spent the entire party trying to avoid him. Every family gathering since then has been the same pattern. Marcus staring, making comments, and Emma encouraging his behavior. But what Emma didn't know was that I'd been systematically documenting every incident of Marcus's harassment. As a litigation paralegal, I understand the importance of evidence. I had dated notes of every inappropriate comment, every unwanted touch, every time Emma encouraged his behavior. I'd learned from handling dozens of workplace harassment cases that documentation is everything in legal proceedings. Emma's latest manipulation was telling me I'd be walking down the aisle with Marcus instead of my own brother David, which had been the original plan. When I objected, explaining how uncomfortable Marcus made me, she said this was what Brad wanted, and she was trying to make her fiancé happy. The whole thing reeked of a setup between the two brothers. My other siblings, my twin sister Chloe and brothers David and Ryan, all thought the arrangement was weird and voiced their objections. Emma got defensive and started crying about how this was her special day, and we were all trying to ruin her dreams. The manipulation was textbook. Make yourself the victim when people object to unreasonable demands. That's when I decided to bring up the harassment issue during family dinner at our parents' house. I wanted witnesses when I explained exactly why I wouldn't walk with Marcus. Emma immediately started screaming that I was trying to sabotage her wedding and making up lies about Marcus. When I calmly listed specific incidents with dates and witnesses, she completely lost control. "Fine," she screamed. "If you're going to be difficult, you can't bring Jake to the wedding anymore. And if you do, you're no longer a bridesmaid." The room went silent. My parents looked shocked. My siblings were outraged, and I felt something cold settle in my chest. Emma had just banned my partner of 5 years, someone who was more family to them than Brad, because I refused to enable her brother-in-law's harassment. What made her ultimatum even more insulting was that my 19-year-old brother, Ryan's girlfriend of 6 months, was still invited. Apparently, casual teenage relationships deserved more respect than my 5-year committed partnership. The message was clear. Emma valued Marcus's inappropriate attention more than my comfort or my relationship. Jake was hurt, but tried to downplay it, saying I should still participate in Emma's wedding because family was important. But I could see how much her rejection wounded him. He genuinely loved being part of our family, and Emma had just told him he wasn't welcome anymore because her creepy brother-in-law wanted to assault me. I realized this wasn't just about walking arrangements or plus ones. Emma was actively facilitating sexual harassment and trying to break up my relationship to satisfy some twisted matchmaking scheme. She'd chosen Marcus's inappropriate desires over her own sister's safety and happiness. The confrontation came to a head when my parents called a family meeting. My father asked Emma directly why she was insisting I walk with Marcus instead of David. She kept repeating that it was what Brad wanted, but couldn't explain why this arrangement was so important. It was worth destroying family relationships. Why is it such a big deal for me to walk with Marcus? I pressed. He makes me extremely uncomfortable, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to assault me during the ceremony. That set Emma off. She started screaming about how this was all she'd ever wanted, and we were ruining her special day. The self-pity routine was predictable. When confronted with the consequences of her actions, she made herself the victim. I was exhausted by the manipulation and drama. "Fine," I said calmly. "I'll attend as a guest and leave before the reception." That's when Chloe and David spoke up. "If you're removing our sister from the wedding party because she won't enable harassment, we don't want to participate either." Emma lost her mind completely. She started screaming and calling me names I won't repeat, along with horrible things about Jake. She was having a full psychotic break because her siblings wouldn't help her pimp me out to Marcus. I decided to leave and let my parents handle her tantrum, but as I headed for the door, Emma ran at me from behind and grabbed my hair. She was still screaming, pulling hard enough that I couldn't get away, so I grabbed her hair back to make her let go. She had extensions, and I accidentally ripped some out. But Emma wasn't done. She came at me again, trying to claw at my face, so I punched her in self-defense. My fist connected with her cheek, giving her a black eye and a small cut. She also had a bald spot where the extensions had ripped out. The aftermath was immediate chaos. Emma was shrieking about her ruined face with her bachelorette party coming up. My mom was horrified that I'd hit Emma, but my dad said she'd attacked me first. Emma threatened to press charges, but my dad pointed out that she'd assaulted me first, and I'd acted in self-defense with witnesses present. What Emma didn't realize was that her threats actually worked in my favor. As a litigation paralegal, I knew that domestic violence charges could go both ways, and she'd initiated the physical contact. I also had months of documented evidence showing a pattern of harassment and manipulation leading up to the assault. The next few days revealed the full scope of Emma's manipulation. When my dad and I confronted Brad about the walking arrangement, he claimed Emma had been telling Marcus that I was interested in him and planning to leave Jake. She'd been actively lying to both sides, telling Marcus I was available while telling me the arrangement was Brad's idea. The pregnancy revelation explained everything. Emma was 2 months pregnant and terrified that if she didn't deliver me to Marcus, Brad would leave her to raise the baby alone. Her desperation had made her willing to sacrifice my safety and relationship to keep her fiancé happy. But Emma had made a critical error in her manipulation strategy. She'd targeted someone with professional expertise in documentation and legal procedures. Every threat, every manipulation attempt, every instance of harassment was now part of a comprehensive record that could be used against her if needed. My siblings' solidarity was absolute. Chloe, David, and Ryan all confirmed they wouldn't participate in the wedding party if I wasn't included. Emma's attempt to isolate me had backfired spectacularly. Instead of forcing my compliance, she'd lost her entire wedding party, except for Brad's friends. Emma tried damage control, offering to let me walk with David if I apologized and rejoined the wedding party. But I knew it was another manipulation. She'd wait until the last minute and then claim there was a mix-up that required me to walk with Marcus anyway. I'd seen this bait-and-switch tactic in too many legal cases to fall for it. Instead, I made a strategic decision. Jake and I would attend the ceremony as guests, sit in the front row where Marcus could see us together, and leave immediately after the vows. We'd make it clear that our relationship was stronger than ever, while denying Emma the satisfaction of having me in her wedding party. The wedding day itself was perfect vindication. I wore my bridesmaid dress, a beautiful navy gown that I'd already paid for because I wasn't buying a new outfit for Emma's convenience. Jake looked stunning in his suit, and we made sure to sit where the wedding party could see us during the ceremony. When Marcus tried to stare at me during the processional, I immediately turned to kiss Jake. The message was unmistakable. I was completely devoted to my boyfriend and would never be available to Marcus, no matter what lies Emma had told him. We left immediately after I do, heading to a gorgeous rooftop bar where we danced and celebrated our own relationship. My siblings joined us later, reporting that Emma had been asking why we left so early and where we'd gone. The best part was that extended family members kept asking why I wasn't in the wedding party. When they learned Emma had banned Jake, someone they all loved, to force me to walk with a man who'd been harassing me, they were horrified. Emma's reputation in the family was permanently damaged by her selfish manipulation. 6 months later, the marriage was already showing cracks. Emma and Brad were fighting constantly. Marcus was still single and bitter, and my relationship with Jake was stronger than ever. We'd started seriously discussing engagement timelines and looking at apartments together. Emma learned too late that trying to manipulate a legal professional with documentation skills was the worst possible strategy. She'd expected to guilt-trip a vulnerable little sister, but instead encountered someone who understood exactly how to protect herself, legally and strategically. The final vindication came when Emma and Brad separated after their son was born. She'd destroyed family relationships, traumatized herself with pregnancy stress, and endured a miserable marriage, all to appease a man who left her anyway. Meanwhile, Jake and I were planning our own wedding with family members who respected our relationship. People sometimes ask if I feel bad about hitting Emma. I remind them that she physically attacked me after months of psychological manipulation and harassment facilitation. I defended myself appropriately and documented everything properly. She learned that actions have consequences, even within family relationships. Emma gambled that family pressure and wedding emotions would force me to accept harassment and relationship sabotage. She lost everything because she chose to target someone whose professional expertise was perfectly suited to counter her manipulation tactics. Sometimes the best revenge is simply being more competent than the people trying to destroy you.